a.m. Pacific Standard Time, or if you're on the East Coast, it's 1 p.m. We actually have a guest today from the East Coast that I'm very excited to bring on. It's our first second time guest on the show. Very, very excited to chat with him about some of the stuff that he's been building. Just catch up. It is going to be Prem from Unruggable. But yes, if you have not, followed along here, like we do this every week, please make sure you subscribe to the X account and make sure you have notifications on. We do live stream directly there, so we're live there. Hello, everybody. And then we also live stream on YouTube, so you can follow us on YouTube and subscribe at the Edge and Node YouTube. And you can also put on notifications there, and every time we have a live stream, it'll show you. So whatever you prefer. And you can always go back and watch like the older recordings on there as well. We do have a playlist, and you can just kind of look through them all. Thank you so much for tuning in again. We're going to be talking today about ID agents. It's a really cool platform that Prem has been working on, and Prem onboarded me this week, and I am just like really, really impressed with how awesome it is. So he's going to explain a little bit about that. We're going to kind of chat about multi-agent systems, and yeah, just catch up on what's going on in the space. So let me, without further ado, invite Prem on here. Prem, welcome back to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. Love it. I'm the second time guest. Amazing.
Yes, you are definitely well respected in the community, and we would love to hear about what you've been working on. So maybe we can just maybe catch us up on what you've been, well, for first time viewers that maybe have never met you. Maybe you can do like a quick intro about yourself and what you're working on, and then also you can kind of preface about ID agents.
Yeah, sure. Because this is my second time, I can repeat some stuff and then we can jump into the new stuff. But yeah, so I started working full time in Ethereum in 2021. I came in through that wave of NFTs, and I guess I'm part of the 2021 class. And I kind of got the idea of like, oh, I understand Web3, upgrade the internet. Like this was the idea that I got, and then we are going to upgrade it with the ownership layer. Chris Dixon's book, Read, Write, Own. So it kind of, all those sort of things fell in my mind as like, okay, I get this. And I think I was always sort of envious of the people who built the internet, like 1993, 1984, the people that were around and kind of doing those kind of things. And then maybe even blockchains. And all of a sudden I realized like, oh, there is a third wave that's coming that I can be a part of. But I wanted to understand it. So I really didn't understand it at first. I was just trying to figure out like, what are NFTs? How does this Web3 thing work, or how could it work? And pretty quickly I realized that it was like mostly a concept, and like the technology was very, very nascent. And what stood out to me really obviously was that hexadecimal addresses, like 40 character addresses, were just never going to work. I was just like, this is never going to be a thing that people are ever going to be able to use on a daily basis at all. The internet definitely, Web3 will definitely not be using these in the future. And so then I started looking at like, well, what solutions were there? And I found ENS, but in 2021, it actually cost around $100 to register an ENS name. That was $5. So I was like, okay, this is really early, but really interesting. So I just started working full time. So my idea basically was at that time was like, okay, maybe I should just fix ENS first, like be part of the open source community, working on that. So that's pretty much what I've done in the last, say about 5 years. I just have been working on ENS full time. But last year, I really dug in and really started focusing on agents and AI agent identity. So I remember last year talking to people about my work and say, yeah, I'm working on AI agent identity. And they would kind of look at me like, well, what are you even talking about? And now this year, it's been amazing because like AI agent identity is pretty much like the main topic of conversation. And I get to have kind of everybody arrive at the party with me, which is a lot of fun.
Yeah, it's kind of funny how we've come like full circle with AI. At first it was just kind of like this little toy that everyone's like toying around with, to like, oh my God, this is like everyone's scrambling to figure it out. And I think what you're working on is like, well, two of the things you're working on are like really important. Like the first is like the identity stuff that ENS is working on. And I know a lot of the work you've done, the ENS team is going to be presenting at a workshop that we're going to be doing for the Spider Agents Bootcamp. I'll put a link to that comments here so you guys know. But maybe you can chat just briefly about that, and then before that, we can then jump into ID agents because that's interesting to me because I think that one of the primitives for like AI agents right now is yes, it needs an identity, and we kind of briefly touched on this in the last episode. But maybe just really quick elevator pitch on the work you've been doing there with ENS.
Well, yeah, I mean, on ENS and agent identity. Last summer, I connected with Marco, who's Marco Di Rossi, who's on the 8004 team out in California, and we started collaborating on the 8004 project. So I actually contributed the metadata standard for the ERC 8004 project. And of course, I took a lot of my experience with ENS to that project. And we do have kind of the same idea as text records or data. Now we have data records on ENS names. And we have that in the 8004 standard as well. So in many ways, I like to say that identity is kind of a simple problem. It's really just a mapping between a key and a value. And the reason why is that that's pretty much the primitive you need to build out an identity and a profile is these key value mappings. And so now we have that in 8004, we have that in ENS names, but there is some nuance between the 8004 project and ENS. And I think one of the ways that I like to think about it now is that 8004 is solving the discovery problem. So you could think of it like an app store. Like an ENS name can kind of be anywhere. It can kind of now be off-chain or on-chain. There's a bunch of different ways of configuring an ENS name, but many of them don't give you discovery. So therefore, you can register with 8004 and get your discovery. And then you can also have your ENS name in your 8004 registration, and that ties it back to your ENS name. So we're starting to get what I would say is the beginning of an on-chain agent stack for identity and also discovery. And so to me, that's very interesting. And I've been working on standards at ENS, and the standard that I wrote is called ENS IP25. And what it does is it connects the registration of the 8004 registration to the ENS name in a verifiable way, so that you can verifiably say that this agent has this 8004 registration and it's tied to the ENS name verifiably. And then the next thing that's going to come out, I think it'll come out even before your upcoming call with I think it's probably Kevin at ENS Labs, is the idea of ENS IP26. So I'm working with Kevin right now on ENS IP26, and that is a native ENS agent identity. And that adds two new text records, which is the agent context and the agent endpoint. And in this way, we can actually build agents that have an ENS name that is their native identity. We can also register them with 8004. So there's a little bit of complexity, but I think we want to just really keep, at least my goal is to keep going after the idea of creating an agent identity stack and seeing how people use it.
Awesome. Yeah, very, very cool. Yeah, I think it's a really critical piece, and yeah, I'm excited for the work you've been doing. I think it's really great and much needed. So, cool. So let's talk about like ID agents. So I know like everybody probably listening to this podcast is using some kind of AI, right? They're either using like Cursor or they're using Claude or ChatGPT. If you're like doing like development work, you're probably using Claude Code, or you're maybe using OpenClaw or Hermes Agent. There's all these like multi-agent architectures that are spinning up. Tell us a little bit about ID Agent. Maybe I can actually share the screen while you're kind of
if you share the screen, I can kind of walk you through a little bit. But,
yeah,
and I've been trying to work
on
my hero, because the main idea is to really get people to meet people where they're at. Maybe if you zoom in a little bit too. So to try to get people where they're at, and basically it's targeted towards developers, and it follows the journey that I've been on, which is I started with I've actually done everything. Basically, I started with GitHub Copilot. Of course, I added Copilot probably 2 years ago or more, and I was using that for a while. And then of course Cursor came out. I started using that, and then actually I was kind of late to it, but in February I started using Claude Code, in the terminal. And then of course I started being like Peter of OpenClaw, and I had like 10 Claude Code terminals running at the same time. And at some point, it was kind of like, okay, this is really getting kind of hard to manage. And so I was also very interested in creating agents. And so I just kind of had a very simple idea. Like, why don't I just take these terminals and turn them into agents, create a manager, and now we can interact directly with my terminals. And so that's basically where it started. I started working that last year, or yeah, I think it was last year. And so this little diagram, if you see, it's like, okay, you're at the top, and then there's a manager and there's a CTO. And the CTO manager pattern, I think, is like the kind of a minimal management layer. And I think the
Mhm.
reason why is I think a lot of people are now using a kind of review layer. So they're kind of saying like, hey, do this work, but I also want to review it with some type of adversarial agent communication. So it's like, I don't just trust you, but I want to get another agent involved to kind of dialogue back and forth, review your work.
Nice.
And so
Yeah.
this pattern, I would say, is really trying to be as simple as possible to create this management layer, but at the same time also be effective and I recommend using Codex as your CTO, at least as of today. Codex as your CTO, and then mixing it with Claude Code kind of worker agents. And that's kind of what that diagram is trying to share.
Yeah, yeah. So yeah, you built it on top of Claude Code. This is like Claude Code is kind of like the primary primitive for like communicating or like using your, I guess, agentic stuff. Maybe for people who don't know Codex, could you kind of talk a little bit about what Codex is and like why you need to use that?
Yeah, Codex CLI. Now they have a desktop version for both, but Codex is OpenAI's uh, desktop CLI and
Mm,
uses the model, GPT 5.4. I think most people think is actually probably one of the best models for doing like systems and system
mm,
design, and it's kind of yeah, we could talk a lot at length about the difference between Codex and Claude Code, but I think most people have found that Codex is really smart, but kind of hard to work with on a daily basis. It feels a little dry,
mm.
and
Yeah,
its personality is kind of very static. So anyhow, I just today I think this is kind of a minimum architecture where you have a CTO that's Codex, and then you have your manager, which I make Claude Code, CLI. These are all the CLIs, and then a bunch of worker agents that are Claude Code, and yeah. So then you can actually start to work in a way which I call talking in problems. So
mm,
instead of saying update the website, make this change, and being super specific, you actually just say like it should be specific still, but it should be something like I think our hero is not really the right wording. Maybe
mm,
we should use this type of wording, and maybe we should look throughout the document and see where there's inconsistencies around this message. And that
mhm,
way, you let the agents take over and go like, okay, let's solve the problem, and they can even divvy up the work and maybe send a review to the CTO for a technical thing, and then you can create a
mm.
copywriter. So it is the idea eventually that we're going to talk in problems, not in directives, and then the
Yeah.
agent team is going to kind of come up with the solutions for us.
Yeah, no, that's really cool. Can you talk a little bit about like, and I don't know if we covered this when we were on our call, so forgive me, but how does the memory work? Like, does it keep, how does it keep track of stuff? How does it know like what's on it? Because I know you have scheduling stuff in there where you can like schedule things. Maybe you could talk a little bit about the architecture a little bit, because I think that might be interesting for some people on those benefits.
Sure, sure. Yeah, so what I want ID agents to be is a way to turn these very powerful CLI agent harnesses into agents. Right now, they're like terminals that you interact with, but you can just convert them into an agent. And I want to do that in as simple and as little overhead as possible. And so, trying to keep it lightweight, trying to keep it very easy to debug and easy for people to understand. So it's just using all really standard web technologies like TypeScript, little Express servers, and it's all things that your manager agent can also just look in the code and see what's going on. If there's any kind of issues, you can customize it, you can do whatever. So it should be very thin and it should be very transparent and open. Of course, it's open source. And The power of that is that it's modular, so that whenever a new model comes out or a new harness comes out of Claude Code or Codex, you can just adopt those new improvements because there's not really any tight integration. It's just literally injecting a question into the prompt using like dash
Hmm.
p. So it's just injecting the question into the CLI, and therefore your binding is very loose. So that means whatever that agent is, however it upgrades in the future, it will still be compatible.
Very cool. Very cool. And I noticed you have the on-chain stuff, and I was maybe going to dig into it a little bit, but you basically have the ability to spin up a wallet inside of this architecture, and you also support multi-chain, which is cool with the open wallet standard.
Yep.
Because I've been looking at that, I think that's quite interesting. Um, and I guess the verifiable agent identities, is this all kind of built on the same kind of like work you've been doing at ENS? And yeah, I was wondering maybe if you had any thoughts on the open wallet standard too, and like why you kind of went with that as well.
Yeah. So about 2 weeks ago, it's just crazy with the time that we're in. Like we talking weeks, not months. It's like I
Yeah,
remember 2 weeks ago. Like it was like
yeah.
this significant amount of time was 2 weeks ago. I think Open Wallet standard came out like 2 weeks ago, maybe three at this point, but it's really not
Mhm.
that old at all. But the week before that, we have a weekly call at ENS that I host, which is the AI ENS call, and that's every
Mhm.
week on Wednesdays. And the week before that, I think I was saying, okay, I think we need to figure out like where agentic wallets are going. Basically, I think everybody sort of after OpenClaw happened, we're thinking more towards CLIs,
Mhm.
command line interfaces for agents. And I think
Yeah.
it took about another week or two before Open Wallet standard came out with their CLI. And there's a few others now that have popped up, but I think that it'll be clear at some point, like who are the winners in the CLI wallet space. And
Mhm.
of course, Open Wallet has a big like have a lot of partners and look like they're doing a great job at like rallying support around the standard.
Yeah.
So that's one thing that's attractive. I think there's an interesting architectural decision to make, and that is whether
Mhm.
it's smart account based or whether it's basically private key based.
Yeah.
And Open Wallet standard, I think, does a really interesting compromise. They kind of
Mhm.
use the private key system, so they're not using smart accounts. They're using
Mhm.
private keys, but they generate a API, like a scoped API for your agent so that you can say, okay, here's the private key for my wallet. It's gonna be in your computer, but it's gonna be in a root folder, kind of like far away from where your actual development is happening. So it's not in a .env
Mhm.
folder. It's like far away.
Yeah.
It's in the home directory, and it wouldn't protect against uh, a malicious agent, but it just
Yeah.
protects against the idea of like, oh, your agent is not like crawling your computer looking for secrets. It's just not. It's just kind
Exactly.
of not stumbling over it, which I think is a good. It's kind of a security aspect.
Yeah.
You just scope the APIs that you give to your agents such that they can only spend a certain amount of money, or they can only actually transact with a certain website, or
Mhm.
so there is some permissions that are built there,
Yeah.
and so yeah, so I just thought it looked pretty good. I kind of liked it. I'm still very much debating whether smart accounts are the way to go for agents right now. There's some people that are very excited about them, and maybe they're the right way to go, but I'm not totally sure. So I just thought it was
Yeah.
the most interesting option to try to use it, and it's open source.
Yeah, yeah. I wonder if you've thought about because I know like for the onboarding, you have like obviously the repo's like open source, so you could just like clone it down to your machine and kind of like run the setup manually. But like part of the onboarding flow is you kind of do this. I wonder like can you customize it straight out of like the prompt? Like is there some configuration that can happen after pretty quickly? Like an example would be like maybe you wanted to swap out the wallet for a different wallet, how
Hmm.
extendable is the source code, and like what kind of contributions are you kind of looking for maybe to the repo to like help, yeah, kind of maybe bolster it and make it a little bit more like modular or powerful. Have you thought about that at all, or any ideas like on how you would like to see people contribute or help?
Oh, I would love it to be like an open claw type thing where just like there's a huge community, working on it together. I think
Mm,
one thing to mention is that when I was working on this, there's something called Paperclip that came out, and I think
yeah.
it got a lot of attention. And the question is like, is this the exact same thing as Paperclip? And the answer is it kind of is. It's really agent orchestration, and it's really doing a very similar thing. What I
Hmm.
think I'm finding the reason why like I'm still using this, still building this, is that Paperclip is more oriented towards the graphic user interface and kind of also more towards maybe a slightly different audience, like maybe
Mm,
people who have small businesses and they want to create kind of an autonomous, they call it a zero-person company.
yeah.
And there's this kind of a slightly different, I kind of feel like they're maybe taking more of a maximalist approach. And I want to
Mm,
take a very minimalist approach and very developer friendly. So I think that maybe there's room for both projects. But of course,
yeah.
I would love to get the kind of adoption that Paperclip is getting. But I think basically, if you go back to the tagline too, we can kind of talk about that really
Up,
briefly
up
on
here.
the ID agent, no, on ID agents.ai.
Oh, yeah.
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 So this is, if you go to that tagline, it's like, this is the main idea I'm trying to push right now is that
Hmm.
most developers, myself included, had a lot of AI sessions running at the same time. And it was like, I don't know if you've experienced this before, but you're like, oh, I know I was working on this feature or this project and I had this
Hmm.
terminal. And then you're like searching for that terminal and trying to like
Yeah.
bootstrap your own context by like chatting with the agent and being like, where were we at in this
Yeah.
project? And like, what, and you're trying to kind of like create your own orchestra. This is what it basically says. You're the orchestration layer
Hmm.
between all your AI sessions, and you
Yeah.
shouldn't be run a team of AI agents from a single terminal.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to like get that as the idea. It's like very targeted at a developer who has a lot of terminals open. They're running a kind of workflow like that. I guess you
Yeah.
could call that the Peter Steinberg workflow.
Hmm.
And I've just experienced going to the other side, which is
Yeah.
turning all those terminals into agents, and then like maybe it's like more like a prosumer tool. My goal is to make
Hmm.
ID agents like more of a prosumer tool where it's just really optimized towards the developer experience.
Gotcha. Gotcha. Well, maybe we can show it off here. I think that'd be cool. So if anyone who wants to try it, you can pretty much just like open up Claude Code and you can just like grab this prompt here and it will like kind of go ahead and kind of get you started. It will reference this like quick start MD file. And I did it yesterday, or I did it like earlier in the week, and I did it yesterday and it was very seamless. It just kind of sets it up for you. And then I kind of have like actually a machine here running. You can still see my screen, right?
Yeah, I can see it.
Yeah, so we can just kind of like we've already set it up, and we can literally just kind of like come in here and be like, "Hey, what ID agents are available?" See if that works. So, when you first get it set up, you get a couple agents that are kind of set up, and then you can like add additional ones that you want just by using natural language. And so I think it comes with the coder, and then like a researcher agent or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Yep.
And
Yep.
then I added like a security specialist, and I added a tester to does like it's going to do like testing for me. And you can see here like they're already ready and willing to work. And we can just like ask. You know what I want to do actually is
Yeah.
maybe like let's say make one more agent for on called, I don't know, uh, financing or something like that. Financing. Did I spell that right? We'll just say finance, and create a wallet for him. Let's see if that
Yeah.
works. I'm assuming it's a him. Could be a her.
Exactly.
I always feel weird when I'm talking about my agents and then I say
I know you
him
got
or
to pick a
her.
gender. Yeah, exactly. Them. We'll just call them them.
Them. Yeah.
Yeah.
It. I don't know. Yeah, okay, so let's see what it's doing. So it has like manages all the config files for you, a very seamless experience here. It's using the admin control skill. It's adding and creating a wallet for that agent. And yeah, then maybe we can like see what the address is and like try to send some funds there or something.
I would love that. Yeah, the way that I've been
Let's
building
see.
this, like I was working on that feature like 2 or 3 weeks ago. So hopefully it's
Yeah.
just like still there and it's still working. But if not, then
If
basically
not, that's fine. Then
this
you
is the
know.
loop that I'm in. I'm just like I've been doing onboarding, so I just get people onboarded and then I just like go back and fix stuff.
Yeah, well, what's cool is like, I just have my agent here and I could be like, hey, like file a pull request and then it'll just send you a pull request to fix the problem, right? So
Yeah,
this is
exactly.
the world we're living in, like, naturally organic software.
Yeah.
Let's see if it works. So yeah, so while we're waiting for this, yeah, so you've been doing this, setting this up like with some friends and some colleagues, and I think you've gotten some really good kind of feedback on it. Where do you see like it kind of growing? Like I know we talked about maybe getting people to help you with it. Is this like just a community project for you, or is this kind of like something you want to push forward a little bit more, or what's your plans?
Yeah. Well, the first idea just started with the idea that I was working on agent identity. So it became very clear to me that like I need agents that I'm working with all day, every day. So I need to have them, I need to be able to just sort of understand the way they work. And they didn't really exist like when I first started
Hmm.
last year. I mean, there were some agent projects, and it's not true they didn't exist, but I think everybody experienced that as of November 2025, something really shifted and really changed in the
Yeah,
model quality. So yeah, so I started this before the OpenClaw came out, so
yeah,
maybe I had a very similar kind of idea, but for me, it wasn't so much about email. It wasn't so much about personal things like a personal assistant. It was really about
yeah,
development. How do I get these agents to develop projects for me? And so just it kind of came out intuitively, like I should just turn my Claude code terminals into agents.
mm,
But the this is actually a sub project of ID chain. So ID chain is the idea of, hey, let's give on-chain identity to agents. That's idchain.world. And it's got a blocker on it right now because it's in alpha, but you should be able to, yeah, because I sent you the login. So,
you sent me the invite. Yeah.
but if anybody else tries it, it'll be blocked right now because yeah, it's still in alpha.
Hmm. Yeah,
But basically, if you click like on that agent 24 right there, there's a little drop down. So this idea is let's make it as easy as possible for an agent to register an ENS name on chain. It's on base right now. And then also to create like actual sub names and sub names. So you can actually create a whole tree of identities for your
yeah,
agent, maybe sub agents or whatever you want. And it's free on base. So it's just basically the idea is like how can we make it as absolutely as easy as possible
yeah.
for agents to get an ENS name on chain. And if you click on the name, you'll see kind of what's inside there.
Here. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
So it's the basic ENS records. There's a content hash. You could have a D website with that, but that one you just clicked up there a second ago is the ENS IP26 agent context record. So as soon as this goes live, which should be merged soon, we're kind of
Yep.
having a standard around the idea of let's declare our agent as an ENS name. Let's put in an agent context. And the reason why I'm just calling it agent context is because I think it's really hard right now to say exactly how agents will, what's the standards for agent identity is. I mean, there's a
Yeah.
bunch of competing standards, and it's very hard to be like, okay, yeah, we're like MCP or we're A2A cards. Like, it's
Yeah.
just think it's premature. So right now, I'm thinking that I think that an agent will probably declare itself in its like index.html, like the who am I kind of first point of call,
Hmm. Yeah.
as some type of markdown document or
Yeah.
JSON. So I'm thinking like maybe markdown with some JSON embedded. And as the standards develop for a agent's public identity, we can just keep putting it in the agent context record. And if we ever get a very definitive best name for that record, we could always add it or change it or whatever. But this is the idea
Yeah.
of kind of like your first point of call for your agent. And
Yeah.
then we also have 8004 registration. So if you zoom down a little bit, I think you'll see that there might be like an 8004 registration
I was
there.
on the other page.
Maybe I haven't looked in a little while,
Maybe
but
it's a different agent. Oh, does it need to be the main agent that has this
maybe
one here?
I'm not sure. I
No,
haven't.
that's just
This
the
is all
signature.
beta,
Okay.
so
Yeah.
but
Okay.
anyhow, I have. No, I think I know what it is. You have to own the agent, and you're not
Ah,
owning these
gotcha.
agents,
Okay.
right? So you
Ah, I
don't get
see.
to
Yeah,
edit
yeah.
the records until you actually like register an agent, which you could do right now. By
Gotcha.
the way, you can just register one if you have a wallet and all that
Yeah.
stuff. And but basically, you can register an agent, and then you have access to a bunch of other features like registering with 8004, which
Hmm.
uses ENS IP25 to kind of make that a verifiable connection.
Yep.
And you could also register a yeah, you can link an ENS name that you already have if you like
Yep.
have an ENS name you want to link in. So this is the alpha project, that you're getting a preview of here. But this
Yep.
is really the main idea. Is like I want to create agent identity, so we need agents. So that's why ID agents. That's why I'm creating ID agents, so that I would love it if like all developers are using agents instead of terminals. And then they start saying like, well, what can my agent do? And it's like, well,
Hmm.
your agent can like receive payments, can make payments, it can like discover other agents that might
Hmm.
want to like collaborate together, but they actually need to be able to communicate and to be able to make payments.
Yeah.
So I also have XMTP uh, in ID agents as well.
Yeah. Yeah. We talked a little bit about that the other day, and I like this idea that you're able to communicate with the agents. What would be interesting to me, and this is just like me brainstorming on the call here, is like
Yeah,
it would be nice if you could make your ID agents a way where they could be easily like pushed to cloud environments or other machines or whatever, and then have like this kind of like maybe SSH tunnel or some way that they could like communicate with each other in like an encrypted way. I think that would be really, really cool. We were talking a little bit about like blockchain abstraction maybe as a tool for something like that as well, like where you like have their own like network where they can communicate. Yeah, there's a lot of really cool stuff you can do with this, and I think you're like laying a good groundwork for yeah what multi-agent systems at like a major scale will look like. And this is really, really cool.
yeah. So the goal is exactly that. That eventually, that ID chain will be like the liquidity for agents. Like it's
Hmm.
where all the agents are, and so therefore there's like a high liquidity. You can, if you want to get something done, there's like an agent ready to work with you. And so that's like the idea of what ID chain is. Right now it's on base. Could it be
Yeah,
its own chain in the future? Maybe, but right now it's on base.
and Ethereum.
Yeah, Ethereum is for registering L1,
Oh,
and
gotcha. Okay,
but the
gotcha.
the the actual registration of the agent records is on base.
Okay. Oh, it's well, yeah. Okay, so let's go back to over here. So we asked it to create a new agent, and then it says it's pending, and it gave us a wallet address. So I'm kind of curious. Oh, and it also says that we should install the OWS Open Wallet Standard CLI and the ID CLI. So maybe we could do that. Let's just say like
Sure.
go ahead and install those and check to make sure the finance agent is running. Cool.
I'm not sure why I gave you the wallet
So
address first, but I think it needs to get there.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, maybe because it was still in the process of deploying the. Oh, you know what it says here is that it's a shared wallet, which I find interesting. Because the CLI is not installed, so
Okay, so
it's
yeah,
not
let's see
per
what happens
agent.
after
So
it. Let's see what happens after.
yeah.
That's the thing about agents. They always like want to please you, right? So you're like, it's like,
Hmm.
oh, the CLI is not installed. Oh, I'll just make a wallet and I'll just, it's like that's gonna be a bit of a challenge. You kind of have to keep them like
Yeah.
not being too over eager.
We're at EdgeNode, we're working on a feature to do like external smart accounts and external signing keys and stuff like that. This would be
Nice.
a really cool one, maybe once that's ready to like make it so people could maybe like use ampersand to like, and they essentially you could assign these like smart accounts for every single agent, and then you could also control like how much they have access to and stuff like that, and we could test out the smart account stuff on it
I think that's
because
the goal.
I do
That's
like.
the goal.
Uh-huh.
That's the goal is
Hmm.
to give people what they want. So if it's
Yeah.
like, you're like, hey, which wallet system do you want to use? And it's like, oh, I want to
Hmm.
use ampersand, or I want to use OWS. It should just be like that.
Yeah.
That's the way I want to make it. I want to make it as thin as possible so that developers really just get what they want. I think there's a big problem in software, which is like the 80-20 problem. Like you might love 80% of it, but if you're stuck with 20% of it, you just kind of feel like it's just like not going to
Yeah.
work for you. So my goal
Yeah.
is to be like, just basically be only in the 80%, like make ID agents only in the 80% and like leave
Yeah.
the 20% for people to like come up with their own ideas.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. I started working on something recently, which is, I mean, we all know like Scaffold ETH, right? Like a build
Hmm.
guild, and Austin Griffin has created that, where it has this kind of like choose your adventure thing. And
Hmm.
he had built Scaffold ETH at first, was like, a little monolithic, and we had to like kind of break it up into these little things, and then we have this like choose your own adventure, where you can choose which chain and what features you want, and you could add extensions. And I think that's the right direction, is the more modular you can go, yeah, the more like a better experience you can get for anyone who's using your software, right? So
Yeah, it's just
very
crazy
cool.
because you can actually, so you were talking about the idea of having agents across multiple machines, like in the cloud.
Yeah.
And my first user, like power user, he already set it up on two computers, and then he just configured it so that they just talk to each other. Like the two
Oh,
setups
wow.
just talk to each other. And the thing is, it's like he just told his agent to figure it out because it's all like TypeScript and it's all, just basic API endpoints and stuff. So the
Yeah.
agent was like, okay, fine, let's just install it on this other computer. And then, for me, it's a little like nerve wracking to be like have any open ports. Like I wouldn't want to have
Yeah.
open ports to anything like public.
Yeah.
So, but I think he's doing it on a local network, so he can just like keep those ports
Yeah.
like talking to each other. But it's on a local network. XMTP is secure, and I do use it, but only whitelisted. So it says
Yeah.
like if you want to talk with another agent, you have to have that agent's wallet address whitelisted, or else you're not going to get any messages from just any random XMTP users.
Right. Yeah, yeah, I've worked with XMTP a little bit with like Spritz, the chat app that I built,
Hmm.
and I was using it for a while, and I had really good experience. But I didn't know you could do that, where you can like kind of restrict the public key. Is that essentially how you're doing it? You're basically like blocking based off the public key or something?
Yeah, you're just making sure that you don't read any messages that are not by the public key. Yeah.
Ah, got you. Yeah, yeah. Okay. Yeah. Very cool. All right, so build a rebuild agent. It's still going, but this is what I love about Claude Code, is you can just if it has the setup properly, you can just let it kind of do its thing, and then we can come back to it later.
Yeah.
Anything else you want to talk about while we're waiting? Like yeah, like something. Maybe what are you most excited about with AI right now? I feel like there's a lot of momentum here. We have like the new models coming out that are just like blowing us away. 4.7 just came out for Opus. What are you most excited about, like in the past, like, weeks?
Yeah,
That's very
exactly. Weeks
exciting.
are like years or something. Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm still really focused on trying to build agents that are useful and productive and can build organizations with those agents.
Mm,
My focus is moonshot projects. So one of the moonshot projects that I've been talking about, kind of just shifted the way that I was talking about it recently, is the open source 3D world model. So I was calling
mm.
that back in 2008 the 3D Wikipedia. So it's like Wikipedia, but it's just 3D. And
Is there a
so,
website for it? Do you know what it is?
oh no, I don't have any websites on it. I bought a
Oh,
domain name
okay.
like years ago in
Oh, okay,
2008
okay.
called Wiki Things. And so this is a little bit
Ah,
like my flag in the my flagpole in this idea was a
yeah.
2008 domain called Wiki Things, because I was like, wait a minute, Wikipedia is such a cool concept, but why don't we have one for 3D models or just like 3D?
Mm,
So then now I've been realizing like, okay, why don't I just call it like a open source world model? And
mm.
we just like kind of know that robots like totally need this data. We need like a world model of pretty much everything, because imagine just like a robot like doing yard work. Like it like
Mm.
wanders around your yard, like it needs to know what like a rake looks like, or what like a toy that it might be picking up looks like. I mean, it needs to have good
Ah,
understanding of these 3D objects,
yeah.
so that it sort of pattern matches. It's not like saying like I don't know what that object is at all. It's like, no, that's a like Mattel baby slide plastic thing that broke. So it's like it's a piece of garbage in the yard, but it's like is this like we as humans still kind of do that? We like, oh, that's just some broken plastic kid's toy in the
Yeah,
front yard. But it might be, if it
yeah.
doesn't know what it is, it might be thinking like, oh, that's a really important piece of, whatever, luggage or something. Like it has to be able to pattern match these objects.
Mm,
And so therefore it like needs the objects. It needs to have access to the objects in some sort of data repository. And then that when you extrapolate that out to like, well, yeah, but what about like an agent that is like doing traffic management, or an agent that's working in an office? Like you pretty much start getting into the fact that like we basically need a 3D model of everything in the whole world to be in a repository and organized.
mm,
And you get into a project like that, and it's just like unimaginable. The scale of
yeah.
the problem is so unimaginable that it's like, okay, it's only imaginable when you imagine having like a huge number of agents who are kind of working on the problem. And it kind of goes back to the idea that like, okay, well then that's going to take a huge amount of electricity. And it's like, well, yeah. And then it's like, well, who owns the data? We're like, well, we really want it to be open source. So it's like, well,
Right.
okay, how about BYOA? Bring your own agent. So you basically kind of be like a Wikipedia editor, but you'd bring your own agent. You'd also be bringing like your own source materials. Let's say you have a car and you're like, okay, I'll take it apart and like use my phone to like scan all the parts and like take pictures of every single part. And I'll like work with my agent to create all the 3D parts and then upload them to this world model that is like a
Mm,
shared open source world model. And
yeah.
then it's like, well, there's costs, there's time, there's all kinds of things. So then we're like, oh, we need to be able to assess the value of these models, values of the contributions, and pay for them. So pretty
Yeah.
much with this world model idea, I have pretty much all the like primitives of the problem. Like we have coordination, we have governance, we have storage, decentralized storage, we have the idea of kind of a network of like a gig economy. Like how would you get people to
Hmm.
be able to enter like permissionlessly to work on the project? So that one idea that I have pretty much like gives me a North Star, and
Yeah.
that's pretty much just what I'm working on. It's like how do we build that whole system?
Nice. Yeah, that's really cool. It's an interesting thing to think about. But yeah, like all this mass coordination of like AI. I mean, we're thinking about it right now and like on our computers, but like when it actually hits the real world, and then it gets a little scary because it's like very like Big Brother. I don't know. The topic's a little sketchy. We don't
There's
have
no
any
other way to
privacy.
approach the future except for just like hodl. Basically, it's just hodl.
Yeah.
It's just like it's
Yeah.
tech hodling. Hold on for
Yeah.
dear
Yeah.
life.
Yeah.
And
It's
for
true.
me, the next frontier beyond the 3D world model that I think about is
Hmm.
space development.
Ah,
So
yes.
space development has this interesting problem where it's very physical, but
Hmm.
we definitely don't want space to be like Wall-E. The movie Wall-E,
Hmm.
and it's just like corporate space. It's just like the Earth is
Yeah.
destroyed and now Facebook owns space. So
Yeah.
what you need to have is you need to have something that I call um, payload neutrality.
Mm.
So payload neutrality is uh, just because SpaceX owns the rockets to space doesn't mean that they can tell you what you can put on the rockets. Like
Mm.
like packet internet neutrality is like can competitors block streaming?
Mm.
And in this case, the question is, do we have payload neutrality? And if we have payload
Mm.
neutrality, that means that I can like buy a $20,000 robot and stick it on a space mission and literally
Mm.
have it go work on space projects for me.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's trippy. Yeah. I mean, I think they're starting to do that stuff right. They're starting to deploy computers in space that are AI operated or something. I heard some things about this. Um, and even like the satellites now that are operating, they're running like some kind of processing power and AI kind of related stuff. So I think that's not too far off in the future where, yeah, you could, yeah, maybe in the future when you have that much money and you can build something like that, then yeah, it's possible.
It's actually not that expensive.
Um,
If you look at
oh, really?
Elon Musk projections, the
Hmm.
cost per kilo is coming down so much that
Oh,
I
wow.
I looked at some of the cost per kilos and they were like $3,000 a kilo, or I can't remember the number exactly at all, but it was like a number you're like, wait a minute, that's not even that expensive anymore. It's like it's like you could like launch these tiny satellites for like a few $1,000s. That's kind of what I was projecting out. And so the idea of
Yeah.
payload neutrality, I don't think it's good. I think this topic of payload neutrality will literally be in the news, I'd say, in 2 years. I
Yeah.
think in 2 years we're going to be hearing about it. Like, can I send my satellite to space? And it'll be like a whole nother blockchain thing. Like, do we have equal
Yeah.
access to space?
Yeah.
That was
All
a big
right.
tangent,
So
though. Yeah.
no, that was great. That's a fun one. All right. So I have the wallet running, it looks like. The agent's running, installed the CLI. So maybe what we can do is like, I'm just curious if it can create a QR code for me for this, because I want to just scan it from my so it did also it registered a subdomain for xid.eth, which is awesome. That's really cool.
Love
So
it.
now I have my name,
Oh
my
yes, so you're
ID
not the
agents has a
owner, you're not the personal owner. So when you go back to that record on idchain.world, you still won't be
uh-huh.
able to edit it, but your
Yeah.
agent can. Your agent can.
Oh wow.
There's a CLI, so it can edit it directly. So anything you want to change, you can say register with 8004, and it will
Yeah.
register you with 8004.
Nice. Okay, I just asked it to make a QR code for this thing so I can fund it. Let's see if it does that for me.
I love these kind
It's
of things.
I
It's
mean,
like,
I'm
who
kind of
knows?
lazy. I don't want to, I just want to like beep from my phone. We're gonna try to send Vitalik some money from my agent here. I think it's gonna happen.
So you're gonna fund your agent and then have it sent?
Yeah, I'm gonna fund him like $1 and then I'll send a
Yeah, of
dollar to
course.
Vitalik or something. And then yeah, maybe Vitalik will retweet this and your project will blow
Yeah,
up.
exactly. It's like how many people have used the send something to Vitalik hack?
Yes, QR code saved above. Oh, that's not useful. Okay, well, let's do it this way. I'm just gonna copy it. I guess you don't do QR codes
I mean,
easily
if you
inside of
right
here.
click on it, it should open. If you right click, if you control
Well,
click.
I'm
Oh, you're
SSH'd
an
in. This is
SSH'd
my
in. Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
that's always the
yeah.
thing.
We're doing some hacker stuff right now. Okay, well, let's just do
Nice.
this. Let's do base scan and paste it here, and it's a fresh wallet. And here's the QR code. We're going to do it the
Oh,
old school way. Okay, so I'm going to take my phone out and I'm going to load up my wallet here. And there we go. We're going to scan it and we're going to send $1 of USDC. Actually, let's send $1.01 so we can, or 2 cents, so we can pay for the gas and just send an even dollar. Let's do it. All right, here we go. He's not even going to notice this. He's going to be like, I don't care about your dollar.
that's all
But
right.
that's
We
okay.
can say we did it.
Let's see if we got it here. Okay, there it is. Dollar in holdings. So I just sent that. Okay, so can you send Vitalik.eth $1 of USDC on base mainnet? It works.
So
Do,
yeah, I
do,
love
do,
it. I don't know that it
do.
has like a native, like, does it have an
ENS.
RPC? Does it have an RPC
Oh,
server?
does that
So
an
so,
RPC?
so what it might
It
do is
might
it might like
just,
it might get a public like Web3 bio and then just like find a way to get the
yeah.
rest. Yeah, let's
I
see what it
like how
does.
it double checked with me. Are you sure? Are you absolutely sure? You want to send real money? Maybe I should just send him a penny, but I'll be nice. I'll give him $1.
Exactly. We'll tip Vitalik a
It's the
dollar for
least I
his
can
for
do.
his work on Ethereum.
Yeah,
Exactly.
all of his open source contributions.
Exactly. I love it how Vitalik introduced himself as co-founder of Bitcoin Magazine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he's always like, "Oh, I'm Vitalik, co-founder of Bitcoin Magazine." I'm like, "Yeah, I think that was the least of his accomplishments."
Wow. So it actually it doesn't have the ETH for gas. Like I need to send a little ETH. But look, it used Cloudflare. That's pretty cool. Um,
Oh yeah, we totally forgot about that. So that would be the benefit of using smart accounts, was that you could
mhm.
have like a paymaster and not have to worry
Yeah.
about that. But you could ask it like, "Hey, you'll figure it out," and it could like go swap some ETH or something. I don't know.
Oh, well, it needs the gas to pay for the transaction. It needs
Oh, it needs
ETH,
the
right?
gas
It
to even
needs,
do that. Yes. Yeah. So
yeah,
that is we have hit the
yeah.
downside on non-smart accounts, is that you do have to
Yeah.
give them a little bit of ETH.
Yep. Yep. Um, Okay, so, oh man, do I not have any base ETH here? Come on, give me a break here. I gotta go to a different wallet. Let's see here. Let's use this one. All right, we're gonna scan. There we go. All right, I'm just gonna send 10 cents. We're gonna go send base ETH 0.10. And there we go. I don't even think I need that much, but it's okay. There's gonna be some dust on this wallet.
Yeah,
Or I'll
exactly.
probably start. I'll probably start using it a lot now. I'm just gonna use this to send
Nice.
all my money.
Nice.
Okay, so let's do it. Okay, try again. So it actually uses Open Wallet Standard to do the send the transaction.
Yep.
Interesting. Next time on the show, we will have ampersand doing this.
Love it. Yeah, I'd love to make it modular.
Yeah. Well, what I'll probably do is I'll do like a pull request to see how we can figure it out, and then I'll do like a workshop video or something. That way, people can kind of try it out. Because I think it makes sense, like having something like ampersand for the agent wallets is like perfect use case.
Well, we literally just experienced the problem. Is that
Yeah.
with a smart account, you don't have to have
Yep.
the native token.
Yep. All right. So it's doing a resolve against the address just to make sure that it's the proper thing. Yep. There it goes. It's got the call data. It's ready. There was an internal server error. I don't know what that's all about, but should work through it here.
But yeah, this is a ultimate live demo. So if it works, I'll just be very surprised.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why it wouldn't work. It should be fine. It's got the CLI installed. It created the key and public
Yeah,
key.
it's always
So
good to downplay expectations though. before before it doesn't break, before it breaks, the best thing to do is like, oh, this probably won't work, and then it doesn't work. People are like, okay, no big deal. But if you're like, it's gonna
well,
work, then people are like, oh, it doesn't work.
yeah. Well, yeah. It is taking a little longer than I'd expect, but it could be that it's just being careful because it's using some Python stuff, which is interesting. Yours is pure TypeScript, right? Like everything you
Yes,
built, yeah?
TypeScript. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Signing works. Oh, so now it's going to broadcast. Here we go.
Yeah, but I mean, I think what we're experiencing a little bit is it's great to get agents on your just starting to work with agents. I think there are people that are still not using agents, and I think the OpenClaw idea is like maybe like a way to start using with agents. But I personally
Yeah,
just think that converting all of our Claude code sessions into agents is way more intuitive for me than
yeah, for
OpenClaw,
sure.
which seems like it's like, oh, take over your whole computer. It's like, well, technically, if you take dangerously skip permissions on Claude Code, you're taking over your whole computer. It's that's what it's doing.
Yeah.
But
Well,
but
it
it's
succeeded.
okay.
So
Yay!
yeah, woo, let's look at the transaction. There we go. We sent $1 to Vitalik.
Nice.
Um, yeah, very cool. All right, so that's really, really awesome. Let me go ahead and stop
Maybe just
sharing here.
see if you can register
Mhm.
to 8004. Just do it. Ask you to do that real quick.
Oh, can you register on ERC 8004? So let's talk a little bit about that. So like, the benefit here is now like this is kind of like my agent. He's going to start building a reputation. Um, and oh, yep, there it goes. Looks like I did it. Yeah, what are the benefits of doing that? Because I know like some people don't understand ERC 8004, so maybe you can talk like, briefly about it.
Yes, 8004 is the idea of a registry on every chain. So the original idea by the Ethereum Foundation and MetaMask, those are two of the participants, the authors, they said like, let's create a registry for every chain, and this will allow us to discover agents. And then we'll expose an endpoint so that we can actually interact with those agents. And when I worked on the project, of course, I said, okay, let's also add the ENS name, or at least let's make sure we add the ENS name in a prominent way, because that gives us like a huge amount of metadata that we can expose in the ENS name. And just so we really create the idea of an agent that has a public identity and has a public
Mm,
endpoint that people can interact with it. Now, for me, the hang up is the public endpoint. Like that's really hard and I don't have a solution for that right now.
Hmm.
Prompt injection is like not really a solved problem. So I don't even really know like if they're like how that's all going to develop. We're going to really have agents that are accepting inbound communications and just like responding, interacting. I think right now, if I was making a public agent, I would probably just give it an email address because I've seen that email is actually pretty good. It has a lot of spam protection in it, and you could probably receive emails and have Google like process them and make sure there's not prompt injections.
Yeah.
So I'd say the inbound side is kind of unknown, but in terms of the inbound communicate, like chatting with an agent that's in 8004 is kind of still not really figured out in my mind. But
Hmm.
registering your agent with its identity, with its public wallets, means that you can now tell people like, yeah, that's my agent. Like you want something to happen, you can send
Hmm.
like me an email. I'll like forward it to my team, and it'll wait for the money to come. So at least
Gotcha.
gives you a like a universal reference for the agent.
Gotcha.
And the
Gotcha.
ENS name is unique, right? So there's no duplicates. It's a global unique identifier. So I would say probably through email would be the only way that I would do it because direct communication to your agent means very high risk.
Yeah. Well, that's true. I think there's definitely some stuff coming out in that regards, or that I think is going to maybe hopefully change that. Some of the stuff I've been working on with OneClaw, that's the exact problem we're trying to figure out is like input, like yeah, the actual code injection that might happen in the prompt coming in, and then also like what you're maybe getting back from the LLM. That's a whole nother like kind of security vertical that I think is really important.
Right, but you can
Cool.
imagine a
Well,
workflow like this. You say
mhm,
like, hey, you'd email like do an email campaign, and you'd send
mhm,
people like a bunch of emails and say, hey, do you want to get this resource or set up this thing? So let's say it's make a flyer. You're just like, hey, you want to make a
uh,
flyer? Like, you can do it. I have an agent ready to work for you, and then
uh-huh.
you just like wait the agent's just waiting to receive payment, and it's
Oh,
like
okay,
the
gotcha.
signal is payment, and it's like,
Oh, okay, I
oh, we
see.
got payment. Okay, great. Now, and we maybe the payment could even have a message like associated with it or something, whatever. It's some sort of very safe thing that like, oh, my agent can't be prompt injected, but it can just be ready and waiting for an inbound payment.
Gotcha.
And then
Yeah,
that
that's
inbound
pretty
payment comes
cool.
in and it just like does it and shoots it off. It's like I guess you could like
Interesting.
prompt your agent and say, here's all the instructions. As soon as you receive payment, just send it off.
Yeah, yeah, it's kind of like invoice. Yeah, yeah, very cool.
And
Well,
and then
it
if
did
somebody
register
figures out
here.
a way to
Mhm.
safely, so yeah, if you go down back to ID Chain World,
Uh-huh.
idchain.world, you can actually see the agent. You gotta refresh, I
Oh
think.
yeah, what was it called? Agent
25, I think.
25. Okay,
You gotta
let me
refresh.
refresh real quick. So it's going to be on top, you think?
I certainly hope so.
Yep, there it is.
And then I think the one that got registered on 8004 was the sub agent finance. Yeah.
Finance agent. Ah, yeah, here.
So hopefully you'll scroll down and see 8004. There you go. Click on that.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Very cool.
Boom.
There it is. All right, so we're online. Someone rate me. Give me a rating of 5, please.
Zero. Yeah. Yeah. But to me, that's pretty satisfying to see that finance.agent.25.xid because that is a
Yeah,
global unique identifier.
yeah, I love it. And now you guys can send me some money for my contributions.
Exactly. Everybody send money to finance.agent-25.xid.eth.
Please don't send me any money.
Okay.
All right, this is great. This is really cool. I think we had a lot of fun today. Let me just stop sharing here. Yeah, so this is really cool. Always exciting to see the work that you do, and I think you've done a great job with this one. So hopefully, some viewers out there, please try out ID Agents and yeah, let Prem know how you like it. How can people find you? Like, what's the best way
Right.
to
So
connect with
I'm
you?
NXT3D on X and Telegram. That's NXT3D, no E, NXT3D on those platforms. And right now I'm doing my onboarding, like I'm getting my basically my first handful of users. And so I'm offering like a full session. So anybody who wants to hit me up and I'll just get on a call with you and just I'm actually hopefully not to really say much, but I'll just like watch and fix anything that needs to be fixed. But basically,
Yeah.
it should work. But yes, you've experienced the onboarding, so that's basically what I'm offering anybody who wants to do an onboarding.
Very cool. Well, that's very exciting. And anyone who's listening, please reach out. He would love for you to try it, and I think it's great. Good work, good job, good work. And thanks again for coming on. And always a pleasure to chat with you.
So much fun. Thank you so much.
All right, everybody
And have a
listening,
great.
please tune in. Make sure you follow and subscribe Edge and Node on YouTube and on X, and we will catch you guys next time. See ya.